My business partner tried to dilute my shares. I sued for minority oppression and forced a buyout at premium value. I owned 30% of a successful software company, but my 70% partner, Victor, decided my shares were inconvenient. He secretly tried to vote me out and dilute my ownership down to 5%. He thought my minority position made me powerless. Instead, I filed a lawsuit for minority oppression and forced him to buy me out at $400,000 more than my shares were worth. Victor and I started CodeStream 10 years ago. I handled all the tech, he handled the sales. Our partnership agreement was simple. He held 70%, I held 30%. Everything was great until we got a $10 million acquisition offer. Victor wanted to sell. I didn't. I believed the company was worth twice that. Victor realized he couldn't legally force a sale without my agreement, so he devised a plan to cut me out without paying me fairly. First, he fired me as CTO, cutting off my salary. Second, he held a secret board meeting without giving me proper notice and approved issuing millions of new shares to himself and his wife. This move was designed to dilute my 30% ownership down to a worthless 5%. He assumed that because I was the minority shareholder, I had no power. He didn't realize that corporate law in most states protects minority owners from being cheated by the majority. I hired a fierce corporate litigation lawyer. We filed a lawsuit centered on minority oppression and breach of fiduciary duty. Victor's actions, firing me, holding a secret meeting, and diluting my shares were clear evidence of the majority shareholder acting in bad faith to strip value from the minority. The key moment came during the initial injunction hearing. My lawyer argued that Victor's actions were illegal and caused irreparable harm. The judge agreed and immediately froze all the new shares Victor had created, stopping the dilution dead in its tracks. Now Victor was in a corner. His planned acquisition was delayed, and his entire company was paralyzed by the lawsuit. Victor's lawyers realized they couldn't win the oppression claim. The judge would likely force the company's dissolution, meaning Victor would lose control entirely. To save his company, he offered a settlement. He would buy my shares. But my lawyer demanded a premium buyout. We demanded a valuation that reflected not just the company's current worth, but the damage caused by Victor's bad faith. We forced him to pay me based on the initial $10 million acquisition offer, plus an additional penalty for the emotional and legal distress. Victor paid me $3.4 million for my 30% share, which was $400,000 more than the initial valuation. He thought my small 30% stake was a weakness. I used the corporate law to turn my minority position into a wrecking ball that destroyed his scheme and gave me a fortune. Victor tried to use corporate loopholes to commit fraud and steal my future. If you were a minority shareholder being cheated by a greedy partner, would you drag the entire company through a lawsuit to get your fair share, or would you take the lesser amount and move on quickly? Tell me your choice in the comments.